Hi guys, so this video is going to be on the second unit. So in the second unit, when we talk about political institutes, we should discuss about state and government as two political concepts. Now let's start by appreciating the fact that every state is consisted of four elements as the defined territory, nationhood, sovereignty and the government, which means that government is one of those elements which is required for the formation of a state. So until the modern nation state times, the difference between state and government was not apparent, it was not evident. So much so that during feudalist times and especially in monarchies, it's pretty much there's no difference between state and government now, which is why King Louis XIV said, "I am the state," which means him being the government. There's no difference between the state and the government. However, in modern times, after the development of the nation state, modern nation state, where we started having democratic governments, we started seeing a difference between the state and the government. Now the first difference is that the state is basically a concept. State is a conceptual institution which is not practical or tangible. You can't see the state, you can't touch the state because it doesn't physically exist. Therefore, the state is something we have created in our minds. It is a concept. Now, if someone says that they can see a state, they are basically referring to the defined territory or the nation or the population. You can see the territory, like the landmass and the citizens who are living in that, but that's not, those are just elements of the state. State is something you can't see. It's basically a concept. Now, compared to that, the government is something that is practical and visible, because president and the cabinet and the parliament, these things that you can physically see, it exists in a physical location, and you can see them, you can touch them because they physically exist. State is a concept which has so much power and so many responsibilities and tasks. Now, since the state doesn't exist in real life, state needs a practical hand, a practical instrument to fulfill these tasks. So basically the government is that practical instrument which does the tasks of the state. Now, if we go with a very common, relatable, understandable example, when we take a religion, the religion is completely conceptual, that it doesn't exist in a physical form. Now, if you take Christianity, Christianity is a concept, that is something that exists in our minds. Christianity is not something that you can see in a physical form. However, as a religion, Christianity has so many responsibilities to take care of the Christians in the world, and Christianity has so much power as a religion. So now that it doesn't exist in real life in a physical form, how does Christianity fulfill those responsibilities and tasks it has? That's when you have the church coming in. Church is something that practically exists, which fulfills the tasks and duties of Christianity, and it does not have the same power as Christianity. Now, does the church have the same powers, same great powers as Christianity? No. It has a delegated power. It has a reasonable power which is delegated by the concept of Christianity. So basically, your reverend or your father is like the president, and the church is like the government, and Christianity or Catholicism, that is like the state, which is a concept which has so much power and responsibilities, but it only exists as a concept in our minds, right? So That's the ideal example to define the connection between state and the government. Now, if we list out the differences between state and the government, the first thing we can see is the fact that the state is a concept which is not practical, not tangible, and not physical. Whereas you have the government, which is a practical, tangible, physical concept that exists in real life. Then you can see that the state has the great power of sovereignty, whereas the government does not have the sovereignty power. The government has a delegated power, which is delegated by the state. Then if we take a look at the membership, when it comes to the state, your membership is not optional. Meaning the day you were born, your parents registered your name in a birth certificate, which means they registered your name as a member of the state of Sri Lanka, and it was not optional. And currently the citizenship you have, which is your membership to your state, you are not allowed to cancel your membership. You can't be like, I don't feel like being a member of the state anymore, so I cancel it. You can't cancel it. If you are cancelling your membership, you need to have the membership of a new state, which is what you do when you are migrating, that if you take the citizenship of another country. Now, except for like those notable personalities like Arthur C. Clarke or Mother Teresa, they had like citizenship of two countries, because other countries awarded the citizenship because they are like very notable, influential people. Now, other than that, those are exceptions. Other than that, you are not allowed to be a member of two states at once. If you are taking the membership of a new state, you have to cancel your existing membership. And even if you want to cancel your existing membership, you need to be given a new membership. And it is not possible for you to not to be a member of any state just because you don't want to be a part of any state. It is compulsory for every single human to be a member of a certain state, some state, somewhere. And no one is allowed to get the membership of more than one state, unless that you are such a great personality that some country would award you the citizenship. If not, if you want to take the citizenship of a different country, take the membership of a different state, it is necessary for you to cancel your existing membership, right? So it is not optional by any means. But when it comes to the government's membership is completely optional. It is solely up to you to run for an election, get to the parliament, become a cabinet minister, become the prime minister or the president. It's optional for you. It's not compulsory for you to be a part of the government. And at any point that you can resign and cancel your membership. Not a problem, right? Then we can see that standing up against the state is not allowed, but standing up against the government is perfectly allowed. Now, standing up against the state is an offense that you can be arrested for being a traitor to your country, to your state. So working against the state is not allowed, which means that is basically attacking your sovereignty. But standing up against the government is all right, that you can stand up against the government, you can protest against the government, or that basically you can conspire to topple the government. I mean, like, that's basically what the opposition party of a country does. Since the day they went to the opposition, since day one, that they constantly try to attack the government, so not a problem, right? So standing up against the government is perfectly allowed. Standing up against the state is not allowed. Then, of course, the state is a completed figure which has 4 elements. Government is only one of those elements. So basically, government is the practical instrument of the state which is there to fulfill the tasks and responsibilities of the state. Then you can also say that every state in the world, at the moment, every state in the world are similar to one another in terms of the format, because wherever you have, every single state in the world is consisted of the same four elements: defined territory, population, which is the nationhood, and government and sovereignty. The defined territory can be big or small, like a small country like Singapore, or like a huge country like China, or a small population like Seychelles, where you have 87,000 people, and China where you have 1.5 billion people. It doesn't matter, as long as you have a defined territory and a nationhood and a government and sovereignty, then it is called a state. So every state is similar in terms of the format. But when it comes to the government, governments can differ, because some countries have democratic governments, some countries have socialist governments, fascist governments, monarchies, military governments, or even inside the democratic format you can have social democratic governments, liberal democratic governments, or even like in terms of the executive format, you have presidential formats, cabinet formats, semi-presidential formats. So the governments can differ from one to another. And also the state is a permanent figure. The state is there, state cannot be changed. State is a permanent figure, it doesn't change from time to time. But the government is something that changes from time to time. Now governments can be changed, mostly government changes occur due to elections, or if not, like revolutions, coups, or invasions. Any of these things can change an existing government. Then in terms of the history also, you can say that the state has a really long history which goes up to like Greek city-states. Even before that, we don't really count tribal state as a stage of state, but if you count that, yes, since tribal days we've been having state. But government has like a shorter history compared to that. Then other than that, you can say that state is something that exists only within the territories, only within a certain territory. Like after that border, once you reach that border, from that point onwards, state has no power, state doesn't exist. So when you pass Point Pedro and you sail for a while, for about 16 kilometers, after that the Sri Lankan state territory is over. Sri Lanka is no more than that point. Then you enter the Indian state territory, right? Or if you take a boat from Mount Lavinia and travel for like 300 kilometers, and your Sri Lankan state is over. After that border, the state doesn't exist. However, the government has no boundary like that. A government can act from anywhere in the world. Now, example, in 2016, Sri Lanka had some floods, and at that time, President Maithripala Sirisena was in Singapore. So from Singapore, he advised our leaders how to tackle the situation. If you want like international examples, that there was a time that Saddam Hussein, the Iraqi leader, invaded Kuwait, and the Kuwait government fled to Saudi Arabia, and they functioned from Saudi Arabia. And also during the Second World War time, when Hitler invaded Norway, the Norwegian government, they escaped to Britain, England. So they functioned from England. Okay, so you can see that a government has no boundaries as to saying that you can only be active within this boundary. Which means that they can be active from anywhere in the world, even from the moon, even from the Mars. They can function without a problem. So those are the differences between the state and the government.